All right, let's kick off another deep dive. This time we're heading way back to ancient China. Emperor Qin Shi Huang, that's who we're focusing on.
Fascinating period.
It really is. And we've got some awesome historical texts plus archaeological finds to dig into.
Oh, cool.
The big thing, these sources point to this just massive project, 12 colossal bronze statues. The emperor himself ordered them up. I mean, these sources, they make it clear. The guy was all about power, control, leaving his mark on history.
You see that a lot with powerful rulers.
For sure. But these statues, they weren't just about showing off. They were seriously symbolic, too. Like, they tell us a lot about the whole political scene back then.
Oh, absolutely. The symbolism is key to understanding this period.
So let's jump in and explore the mysteries of these bronze giants. Why did Qin Shi Huang even build them? And what can they tell us about, like, this crucial time in Chinese history?
You got to understand the context. Qin Shi Huang had just unified China. We're talking centuries of warring states finally over.
Huge deal.
Monumental. But then, think about it. How do you keep control over an empire that massive and diverse?
Yeah, unifying it's one thing. But actually governing it, that's a whole different beast. How do you even approach that?
He put the system in place. It's had a lasting impact to this day. The prefecture and county system. He divided the empire, 36 prefectures. Each one had officials, appointed by him, of course. And those prefectures, they got divided even further into counties. It's like this top-down control system. And it's wild because it basically set the stage for how China's been divided administratively for centuries.
So, like, echoes of his reign are still around today. That's crazy.
A testament to the impact he had.
Okay, but let's talk about something even more dramatic. Melting down weapons. Like, I read he ordered every weapon in the whole empire collected and melted down.
Oh, yeah. That was a big one.
Can you even imagine the logistics of that? What was the point? What message was he trying to send?
Yeah, it was a powerful statement, that's for sure. Just the sheer amount of metal involved is mind-boggling. Historians, they've got two main thoughts on this whole thing. One idea is he was copying King Wu of Zhou.
Oh, okay.
After King Wu unified China, he did this symbolic thing. He let his horses graze freely, put away all his weapons. It was all about ushering in peace. So maybe Qin Shi Huang melting down those weapons, it was a similar kind of gesture, like symbolically ending all that fighting between the states.
So a message of peace, unity.
Yeah.
Kind of like turn swords into plowshares.
Exactly. But there's another take, maybe a little more cynical. Some historians, they compare it to Ji Wuzi. He was a powerful minister back in the spring and autumn period.
Okay, never heard of him.
Well, he was known for melting down weapons too, but the weapons he melted were the ones he'd captured from his enemies. And then he bragged about how powerful he was.
Oh, so less about peace, more about showing off his strength.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this small but super important detail that backs up that idea. King Wu, he used his own weapons. Qin Shi Huang. He used the ones he took from the states he conquered. Subtle difference, but it changes the story, doesn't it?
For sure. Adds a whole other layer to it. So now we've got all this metal from all these melted down weapons. What did Qin Shi Huang do with it? I'm guessing this is where those giant bronze statues come in.
You got it. He goes and commissions 12 gigantic bronze figures. Each one weighed 1,000 Dan. That's over 29 tons each.
Whoa, 29 tons. That's insane.
Imagine the resources the people needed to make something that colossal.
I can't even wrap my head around it. But why 12? Was there something special about that number?
Oh yeah, big time. Back then, the number 12, it was a great number of heaven. They associated it with cosmic order, completeness. It added to the whole symbolism of these figures, literally and figuratively. He didn't just want them to be big. They were meant to, inspire awe and show his power. But the big question remains, what did these giants even look like? That's where it gets really cool. We actually have clues. There's this text, the Records of the Five Elements. It mentions these statues.
Okay.
Now, that source, it's known for its supernatural stuff. But it does say those statues, they were real. Lots of people saw them. And get this, it says those figures were dressed like barbarians.
Barbarians?
Yeah.
Really? Why would he do that? It seems weird, especially if he's, trying to show everyone how powerful and unifying he is.
You'd think so, right? But there are some explanations. Could be they got the idea from stories about giants, these giants people supposedly saw in the Lintao region. That area, it was seen as outside the normal Chinese world.
Interesting.
Imagine it. These huge bronze guys, decked out in barbarian clothes, standing right there at the palace.
That would be pretty wild to see. So what was he going for with that?
One idea is it was just showing everyone he was boss, like saying, even the toughest barbarians answer to me. People who didn't like Qin Shi Huang, they'd see these statues and be reminded.
Like, don't mess with me.
Exactly. Reinforces the idea that he's the top dog. He brought peace and order, the whole deal.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But there's another interpretation. It's about this idea of the Huaxia world.
Huaxia world. What's that?
So the Huaxia world, that's the central plains of China. It's like where Chinese civilization started. And by making the statues look like barbarians, Qin Shi Huang could be saying he's the protector of that world. Like he's defending it from outside threats.
So he's not just a conqueror, but like a defender, a guardian of Chinese culture.
Right. Shows how powerful symbols can be. Those statues, they were more than just metal. They were a message, super carefully crafted to shape how people saw things. Of course, how people actually felt about them. That's up for debate. Some might have seen power and unity. Others might have seen tyranny. It all depends, you know?
Yeah, totally. Makes you think, right? History's not always so clear-cut. There's always different sides to it. What do you think the average person thought, seeing these massive bronze statues? Were they impressed? Scared? Both, maybe?
Historians still argue about that. And here's what's even crazier. Later on, during the Han Dynasty, those same statues, people saw them as predicting the Han Dynasty coming to power.
Wow. Same statues, different meanings depending on who's looking. Shows how people in power can shape the story, even way back then.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective. And here's the thing. All these descriptions, these stories we have about the statues, no one's actually found them yet.
So they're like mythical figures. Their real look, their real meaning, all lost to time.
In a way, yeah. They haven't been dug up, but their story still gets to us. Still makes us wonder.
It shows how monuments, even ones we can't see anymore, can still be powerful. They can be propaganda. They can show cultural identity. They can even make people argue about history centuries later.
It really makes you wonder, what would it be like to see them, in person? If we could go back in time, would we be, like, amazed or scared? Maybe both.
Yeah, these huge figures just standing there, seeing all that history. And now they're gone. Just adds to the whole mystery. What happened to them? Did someone destroy them on purpose? Or did they just fall apart over time?
That's the question, isn't it? Archaeologists, historians, they'd all love to know. But them being gone, it actually makes them even more powerful, symbolically. It's like a reminder. History isn't just what we can dig up. It's also about, like, the stories we tell and the questions we keep asking.
It's like history is made of facts, sure, but also how we understand those facts.
Exactly. And that's why studying history is so cool. It's not just dates and names. It's about trying to understand the past, What did people do? What choices did they make? What did they leave behind?
Well said. Those bronze giants, they might be gone. But they still make us think about power, about symbolism, about how we understand history. It's like even the biggest monuments can crumble. But the stories they tell, they stick around.
It's true. Even though we haven't found them, they still make us think. They remind us there's always more to discover, more to learn, and always different ways to see things.
And that's what we try to do here, right? On the deep dive. Find those hidden stories, bring them to life.
That's it. So next time you see, like, a monument, a piece of art, even just hear a story, ask questions, dig a little deeper. You never know what you'll find.
Great advice. And speaking of questions, we want to hear yours. If you could ask Qin Shi Huang one question, just one, about his bronze figures, what would it be? Hit us up on social media. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.